party people. I am your host, Lexi Inks, and welcome to Lex Be Real, a sex and dating podcast all about the 3 R's: real, relatable relationships. I am going to try and keep this intro super brief because I am so excited about the conversation that I had with our guest today, my dear friend, Dr. Sara Sohn, who is such an incredible expert and mentor and educator and caretaker, amazing person. She and I talked all about body transformations, including weight loss, weight gain, giving birth, lots of different things that can change the body over time, and how we perceive our body, how we feel in our body, how we accept our body, and how we can accept our body. Sexual confidence, self-confidence, body pleasure, all of these things. We talked about so many really cool topics today, so I just want to dive right in. But first, a couple reminders. Make sure to follow the podcast on YouTube. I'm really trying to build that presence out there. So subscribe on YouTube because the videos are all there as well, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to give the podcast a rating and subscribe so you can see and be updated when we post new episodes. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lexi Inks. I'm so excited that I'm building such a cool community on both of those platforms with all my sex ed content, and also just like random shit about my dogs and my life, and my random opinions and hot takes. So that has been really fun. A couple random personal updates, since I just haven't really chatted with you guys in a while. I know a lot of you, I've mentioned this in multiple different episodes, but I live in a camper currently on 120 acres of land in rural Georgia that my parents own. And they're outside right now, like dilly-dallying and doing a bunch of different stuff on the land. But my dogs, Remy and Milo, who live with me here in the camper, are off-leash dogs now. For the first time in literally their entire life, they have never been able to safely be trusted off leash. And now, thanks to e-collar training and clicker training and just lots of positive reinforcement and practice in little doses here and there of off leash time, they are fully off leash dogs now, which has been such an amazing thing for our relationship and just feeling like trusting their safety and them being able to actually enjoy the land that we live on, because 120 acres of this like beautiful rural untouched land would be so sad to have them just not be able to explore any of it. So of course, there he goes, Milo, just as I'm talking about how proud I am of them and how excited I am, he has to ruin it. But anyway, yeah, so they're off leash pups now. So you can see he has his little e-collar on, little Milo, crusty boy, because we just are spending all of our time outdoors now, which is so cool and exciting. And yeah, I've just been spending this morning enjoying my coffee, sitting outside, going on long walks with them, sitting on my parents' porch, and cyberbullying Ron Armstrong, the MAGA wannabe mayoral candidate in Jacksonville, Florida, my hometown. I've been cyberbullying him and harassing him a lot on Facebook. If you were curious, if any of you live in Jacksonville, you know that man sucks. So yeah, I've just been having a lovely morning, drinking my coffee, hanging out with my dogs off leash outside, and cyberbullying a mayoral wannabe candidate. So love life right now. Things are going really well. Anyway, without further ado, again, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, whatever your preferred podcast platform is. Give us a rating, please, so that way we can keep getting pushed out to new audiences. The podcast is growing, which is so exciting, and I want to keep that momentum going. Follow me if you want to see more of my work at Lexi Inks on TikTok, at Lexi Inks on Instagram. And then if you want to see even more of what I do as a journalist or as a marketer or whatever, freelancer, www.lexiinks.com is my website. And then also for Sara Sohn, my sweet friend, Dr. Sara, please follow her on social platforms as well. She's at Dr. Sara Sohn, I believe. And then her website has everything you need to know and find out about her. And that is drsarasohn.com. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Okay, I am so excited to have a chat with today's guest, my dear friend, Dr. Sara Sohn. We have We go way back. We have been friends for a very long time, and she is truly such a special person. And not only is she a special person and a fantastic friend, but she is also a very accomplished doctor, Sara Sohn, of pelvic floor physical therapy. She's a pelvic floor physical therapist. She is an AASECT-certified sex counselor. She is an author. She is an artist. She is everything, and a sweet, wonderful friend. So I'm so excited to chat with her today all about our transformations, not just ours, but anyone who has had a weight loss or body transformation, and all of the different nuances that go into feeling confident and comfortable in your body, feeling at home in a new body, whether you've lost weight or gained weight or both, which I think a lot of us have done both throughout our lives. And definitely how that affects our sexual confidence and how we feel comfortable being naked and comfortable in the bedroom and comfortable with people seeing us naked and all of those things. So we're going to have a really fun and open and just judgment-free conversation today. So I'm so excited to introduce Dr. Sara Sohn.
I'm so excited to
Hi.
be here, and mostly just so I can get to hang out and talk to you.
Yeah, it's going to
You've been so
be
busy. It's so
really
nice to just be able to chat.
I know. Yeah, it's been a lot. Definitely a roller coaster of crazy work stuff lately. But I am also just really excited to chat with you today because I think that in the current like landscape of wellness, like wellness culture, especially with GLP-1s. And I know that pretty much everybody listening knows that I have been on a GLP-1 journey for like a year and a half now ish. And I think this is just such a timely conversation to have. So I also know that you have a really unique perspective in a lot of ways on this topic, and just like sexual confidence in general. So let's start from the very beginning of what brought you into pelvic floor physical therapy and how did that translate into you also becoming a sex counselor? Like tell us your journey.
Well, that's a really great question, and it's like I was laughing because somebody said this to me the other day. They're like, there's some people that really intellectualize feelings where they're going to get a PhD in it rather than say, hey, this is hard for me. And I think that that's what happened with me. I was like, you know what? It's really hard for me. It's hard for me to like my body when I exercise. And it's hard for me to feel good when I'm moving throughout the day, and I feel really different and I feel really not accepted for the body that I'm in. Let me go to physical therapy school. Let me get a doctor in this. Let me learn all about sex. Then I only learned about problems with sex. I was like, let me actually learn about pleasure. And then you learn everything. And I'm still at this place where it's like, no. When I'm naked, I still feel uncomfortable. I still feel like logically, I have two legs that are working. I have two arms that are working. I have a belly that doesn't give me the diarrhea and the constipation all the time. I have, two beautiful breasts. Like I have these things, and logically they're intact. But when I'm just standing there, I feel naked from the inside out. And so a lot of the practices have been, okay, now that I know all this information, how do I actually use it? How do I actually feel good in my own body? So I personally think I'm doing the work that I was meant to be doing my whole life. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to tell you, a little bit more about just like my story in there, but that's how my pelvic floor physical therapy, sex counseling kind of relates to my own body and the work that I do.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you that this is exactly what you are meant to be doing. Like you are so good at it and just it like you can just see this like light in you whenever you talk about these things, and you are just such a fantastic educator and caretaker and care provider and all of those things. So I think this is the way that you are meant to nurture. You know what I mean? Like you have that like feminine nurturing like gene energy, but I think this is the exact brand of like care and nurture that you are so, so, so good at giving. So yeah, I think it's such a natural progression for you, and I think it makes so much sense. And with like the quirky ADHD, like artsy fartsy part of Sara too, it just all comes together. And especially like as people get to know you more throughout this conversation, I think they're going to see that too.
Thanks. And yeah, it's like, hang in there, guys. I promise I have some good points. We're going to get
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We both,
it might not be linear point to point, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we both are so squirrel brained that we're like, wait, also this. So, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're good. But yeah, so I love just hearing a little bit about your backstory too. But let's dive more into like the sexual confidence part.
I want to ask you the question and answer it as well. But what is the first or a moment after your weight loss journey where you realize your confidence had changed for better, for worse, or for neutral?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it's funny because I actually kind of have like the opposite of what I think you'd expect or most people would expect from like a weight loss journey. And I actually talked about this on my social media recently that so for those who don't know, I have been on a GLP-1 for a year and a half and I've lost over 70 pounds. I still have like 80 more I want to lose, but it's been significant. Like it's definitely noticeable. I have loose skin, like all that stuff. Like I feel it in my body. And my blood tests are so different. Like I'm much, much, much healthier than I was a year and a half ago. But it's ironic because as much as I am so happy that I've lost 70 pounds and as much as I am so much healthier, I am so not just self-conscious. Like I wouldn't even say it's self-conscious in the way of like, oh, other people see my body this way. I'm like, I hate my body. Like I feel crazy in my body and I feel like I don't like it. I don't like the state it's in right now. I want it to be different. And I think part of that is because I've made like you know what I mean? Like I'm halfway through my journey. And so in some way it makes sense because I'm like not done. And I think I'm kind of like frustrated that I'm not done yet because I'm a very impatient person and I have ADHD and like I'm so used to like giving up on things halfway through if I'm like not happy with the progress. But weight loss is something that you really have to see through. It's like there's no shortcuts. Like you can't cheat your way into weight loss. And so like especially the way that I'm doing it, I'm like it's going to take time. And I think I'm so used to having what my family calls BQE, which is big quitter energy. And so like
Aww.
now that I can't have BQE, I'm like, no, I have to like finish this journey. Like I want to finish this journey and I've promised to myself that I will finish this journey. But I think I'm in the weird messy middle where I'm like, ugh, like I'm so discontent with my body and I hate that I feel flabby. I hate that I like have loose skin, but I hate that like I don't have the loose skin that it's like I lost 140 pounds loose skin. It's like I only lost 70. You know what I mean? So I think it's just me. It's a me thing. It's a me thing. And it's like so illogical because my logical brain is like, you are doing amazing. You lost 70 pounds. Like you would have never been able to do that before. So now you should be happy. But then the other part of me is like, that's not enough. And you basically look worse than you've ever looked. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that just chalks it up to like this body dysmorphia, which I think so many people experience when they lose weight, right? Like a lot of people get into like, they don't recognize their body for a long time. And so it takes a long time for your like brain and your like heart to adjust to seeing yourself in a different body. And whether you lose weight or gain weight, I think a lot of people go through that. But I always say that I think I had like reverse body dysmorphia when I was like close to 300 pounds because I was like, I'm beautiful. Like I like thought I was like looking the best I've ever looked. Like now I'm looking back, I'm like, I had zero concept of what I like actually looked like when I was close to 300 pounds because I just thought I was glorious. Like I loved my body. And now it's just the weirdest thing because I'm like losing weight and getting healthier, but then I'm like hating my body and I've never hated my body before. So it's very, it's something I'm working through.
Well, I want to say it's really brave to show that liminal space of where you're in the story, because I have so many different thoughts that kind of came up when you were talking, but I think the overarching one is, you know, you're in this place where you're in this journey and you're seeing that your brain is saying, when I get to this destination, I'm going to feel this way, and I don't feel that way now. Let me talk to other people that have been through this journey and see why that is. Let me learn more about it. Let me share that experience, because I don't think I'm the only one that's feeling that way. Because, and that's kind of in that raw middle space is where you're at, and kind of sharing with others. And is that kind of accurate?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's feeling like this like purgatory where I'm like, I feel like I'm like not stuck, but it's like
Yeah.
I'm like not done. And that the feeling of like incompletion is like
And you
I
get to
think
this
that's what's
space
uncomfortable.
and you thought there would be trumpets and confetti, and there's not. So I think that your experience is similar to a lot of people's, but I can only speak about mine. So I'll tell you just my own kind of
Yes.
story and my own experience. I I grew up very obese. I was about 100 pounds overweight my entire life. So I can't remember, everyone has a different journey, a different experience, but I can't remember a time in which I did feel like I wasn't the biggest person in the room, and where I felt accepted for who I was in my body, that people just wanted to get to know me and didn't need to look past anything. They could just get to know me and see me. And I was severely, as a child, severely bullied. The someone wrote a book calling me a whale and sent it around the school. Just things that really stick with you for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I always thought, oh, as soon as I lose all of this weight, people will see my smile. As soon as I lose all this weight, people will know I have a nice voice. As soon as I lose all this weight, someone will ask my ideas. As soon as I do this, I will feel so good and like I want to go on a date. And as soon as and that just overarch. And now looking back, I look at these journals of this adolescent that kept these journals, and it makes my heart break that that's what I was so focused on. Like that time period, like I spent so long, so immersed, and it felt so real. So to answer your question about what brought me to the work that I do, I it is 100% my own journey to feeling confident and accepting my own body, because it didn't happen the way that they show on movies. I didn't go to fat camp. I did go to fat camp, but I didn't go to fat camp, come back, and there was confetti and a red carpet. Even when, so in my life, I've lost 100 pounds 3 times, meaning I've lost it, I've put it back on. I've lost it, I've put it back on. I've lost it, I've put it back on. And so in doing that, there is truth to how people treat you differently. There is truth to when you come and you go to school and you look different, everyone giving you attention that they didn't give you before, or just asking you the most ridiculous, what shampoo do you use? Like, you care about what shampoo I use now? Like they
Yeah.
like there's a way that people treat you that is different. And even that is challenging. There's so many challenges to going through significant body change. I think regardless what it is, but this is my own experience, where you think it's going to be one way and it's actually another. For me personally, I got to a place the third time I regained my weight where I said, what does science say would be the most likely for me to be able to keep this off and it be a little easier? And that was bariatric surgery. But at the same time, I really felt almost shamed by a lot of the medical community. Like, you're going to have a worse binge eating disorder, and you're going to actually, a therapist said this to me, you'll never have a normal meal again. And I just looked at her. I was like, I've never had a normal meal. I've never eaten and just felt satisfied and good uh, and present and joyful. And again, this is not everyone's experience, but this was my experience. I was like, why would I not give myself what is the most likely support to be able to lose the weight and just this not be what fills my journal? And for me, that was weight loss surgery. And even going into it, I think because I had lost the weight and we put it back on so many times, my goal in it when I went into it was like, I want to keep up with my peers when I go for a swim. I want to eat and just feel like calm. I just don't want to be thinking about this all the time. So I think people that really struggle with obesity, and not just they put on a few pounds, but really struggle with obesity, there's all of this noise and all of this room that it's taking up, that it's like you think when you lose the weight, all of that's gone, and it kind of works that way. But sometimes we have to be mindful about what's replaced with it. What are we replacing there with that noise that was saying, oh, monitoring, oh, that's enough food, weighing and scaling and da 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 da. How are we replacing those thoughts and the thoughts that we have about our body? And none of that is taught. So for me, that's even why I named my business Confident Pelvic Rehab, because I see this in my patients, not just people that have lost weight, but people that have had babies and have significant body change, people that have big pelvic floor problems. I literally help people with peeing, pooping, and sex for a living. Those are big body changes. And we don't talk about the gap between this unwanted thing, this thing we thought we didn't like, we didn't want about ourselves, and just experiencing pleasure. And I don't just mean sex, but I just mean, oh my gosh, I feel good in my body. I just feel good. That is like a huge gap that I'm still on the journey of. I'm not over here being like proselytizing over here, but I'm definitely, that's my passion in life. And what I think I was put on this planet is to be that, like you mentioned, neurosparkly person that has all these interests, all these different things that I'm putting together in a way that's transforming me and other people too. They tell me. Trying to be humble, but yes, that's what I've heard.
No, 100%. And I resonate so much with so much of what you said, because I was definitely overweight my entire life. I didn't hit really like obesity until college, which honestly I was very lucky because I was bullied for so many other things, including my weight. And so I think I like made up that deficit with like just being like obnoxious and like a theater kid, and like a Christian and all that stuff. But it's, yeah, I completely resonate with being young and having your body be like the most seen, perceived thing about you. And like the first thing when you enter the room is like, oh, that's like a fat kid. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, you're like you said, it takes up so much mental space. And even more so, honestly, as an adult, because I think you are so much more acutely aware of perception in every aspect, professionally, sexually, romantically, in a friend way, like socially, like you understand more of how your body changes the way you're perceived in all these different settings that you didn't have to even worry about as a kid. And I think
Yeah.
that makes it, even in some ways, even harder. I think as you grow older, because you're so much more socially aware. And yeah, but when you start losing weight, like you said, I love that you said like what replaces those thoughts, because something has to. And so that's where I think that's where everyone has an individual experience, is like some people's thoughts get replaced with, yeah, like the tracking, like the maintenance, like I have to make sure I can never go back there, I can never go back there, I can never go back there, what can I do to prevent that kind of those thoughts from coming back, or what can I prevent from having to experience that ever again. And some people might have the same thoughts, some people might, fixate on, okay, now I'm like so self-conscious, like kind of what I'm going through right now, where I'm like, why am I so aware of how my body looks and feels at any point? Like, I've never been
Yeah.
so aware that I have a body before. Like,
Yeah.
I think even when I wasn't in love with my body, I was definitely body neutral. And so yeah, I think now the thoughts are like, I have a body and I exist in a body. I am a body. Like, I
Well,
think that's where I've
I'm so
yeah.
proud of you for seeing it now, because I'm going to be real with you, at least from my experience and what I've seen. The closer you get to what you think is an ideal body type, the more critical you become of it. And I see that within bodybuilders. I see
Yeah.
that's how our brains work. We have a bias to find what is different here. But when I was asking before, what is a time in after a weight loss journey where you felt confident or didn't notice that confidence? I think we've talked about all these times where you think you're going to feel this way and you don't. But I do have an example of a time where I felt really confident, and I think it plays into kind of what you're saying of what to replace it with.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I share my glitter
Please. Yes,
belly
yes.
story? So
Yes.
I've always wanted to do a burlesque show. I think you were still living here when I was doing this. I can't remember.
Yes. You started doing rehearsals and stuff for it and classes and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always wanted to do a burlesque show, or like I was signed up for Miss UCF, and I DNF'd it. There was a lot of things because I remember when I was going to do Miss UCF when I was an undergrad, they said that I wasn't allowed to wear a sarong. And I was like, well, I ain't getting on that stage if I'm not wearing a sarong. So I just was like, I'm out of here. I didn't have the confidence yet to be like, I don't care what you say. I'm going to, whatever.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to do something like that. And so I signed up for this burlesque class, and I thought to myself, what is the thing that's stopping me? What is scaring me? And it's like, oh my gosh, people cannot see my belly. I have this very fixated, dysmorphic view of my belly. I have for a long time. I'm like, oh my gosh, people cannot see my belly. And you know what I decided? So what if I made my entire act literally about that, because burlesque is really the art of making fun of things. And so what if I just made the entire act, and is this going to be completely traumatizing or in front of a crowd, which nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see somebody go through that.
Right.
People want to be entertained. Or is this going to be really healing, transformative, and fun? And it ended up being the latter. But I said, what if I made my entire act about, she's a girl, she's putting on jeans, she's getting ready for her day, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't get these jeans over my belly. And she's jumping up and down, and I turned around, jumped up and down, showed my ass, and it was like, everyone's clapping. And I'm like, and then she can't get on these jeans, and she's just like, fuck it, and gets naked and starts dancing. And when I tell you, I shook my belly, I grabbed my belly, I put glitter on my belly, I let my belly hang. I have all this loose skin, and it's like just kind of splays over. I let it hang. I was celebrated. I was clapped. When I say that was more healing than anything I've ever learned in pelvic floor physical therapy, anything I've ever learned becoming a sex counselor, anything I've learned in the kink space, it was simply saying, I deserve a moment, even one moment, to feel creative and good in the body that I'm living in, just to literally put glitter on it and dance. And that's what I have found more helpful than anything. It's like we can have two targets. Sometimes we have this target where we're like, we just want to lose the weight. We want to get rid of the thing. Maybe it's get rid of the pain. And we're doing all these things. We're like, oh, I'm exercising. And if you imagine like a bullseye, the exercising is pretty close to the target. And I'm eating protein because that's important. And I'm sleeping enough, and I'm drinking enough water, and I'm da-da-da-da-da. And all of those things are on this target of weight loss. But it's none of those things are on this target that we don't talk about, which is body pleasure, feeling good in the body. And we think we have to like completely go, it's if you can't, you're just not on. It's not that either target's more important or not important. It's what are we doing for this one? If that's a goal, the goal is to just feel good in the body, which I can't imagine why that wouldn't be a goal, but the goal is to actually feel good in your body. What are we doing there? You know, it might not look like slapping glitter on your belly and shaking it, but what are we doing there that just is moments where instead of asking, how do I love my body? How do I not hate my body? It's how do I just create some moments where my body feels good to live in? And I
Yeah.
have to say, a place where I learned so much from people is actually the trans community. In becoming a sex counselor, learning from the trans community just about gender dysphoria. There's a educator that I love. Her name is Lucy Fielding. She's a sex therapist, and she coined the term gender pleasure. And it's this idea of what gives you pleasure being in your gender. You know, is it like I just got my nails done and I never get my nails done?
Yeah, me
That
too.
gave it to me. I just went to the gym and I was so sweaty and like muscular, and I like to have a little undercut, and I feel like this like kind of what society would say is more mask version of my gender, and I feel so sexy. It's like, what, how are you
Mhm.
celebrating those things, and what actually gives you that? And for me, I thought, well, what gives me belly pleasure? I might not like the fact that my belly hangs. I might still get surgery one day when that feels, or if that feels right for me. But what actually right now gives me belly pleasure and actually makes me laugh and dance with glitter on it?
Wow. We could just shut this down right now.
No.
But yeah, no, that is so spectacular and such a good, because there are so many simple, quick, easy ways that people can start finding those like pockets of joy and pockets of like self acceptance. It doesn't, yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to love it. And you don't have to also think, how can I not hate it? You can just find those pockets of joy, pockets of pleasure, pockets of like radical acceptance of like, wow, this is what it is. And I'm happy with it right now in this moment. And it can just be a moment, like so fleeting. And that's okay. But you have to, like you said, you have to find those. And I think that's, you do such a fantastic job of helping people, not just in weight loss, but like, yeah, like you said, when there's like dysfunction or issues in any like pelvic floor or just any part of their body that's connected to that, and you just help them figure out like, yeah, there's something wrong, but you can still love it despite it, and you know, not just love it despite it, love it with it. And I think that's just such a fantastic way to look at it, is like you love your body with your belly, and it's not just despite it. It's not like, oh, even though I hate my belly, I still love my body. No, 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 you love like all of it, and you find those moments where you can really feel that. And I think that's so powerful, and I love that so much.
And it has to be internal. I think sometimes we look, you know, I'm a lot of these things are learned. And so compassion is, Gabor Mate has like a book on compassion, and it's, you know, saying that compassion has to be gifted. And what is the compassion that we're providing for other people? And so, you know, when I think of things that really help me in this way, the first one is finding just moments. It doesn't even have to be a whole relationship of love. It's a moment, it's a date, it's a it's a tease, it's a taste of like, okay, this feels good to live in, and it's tackling it head on. It's like, you know, not dancing around it. It's like, this is the moment, and tackling it head on. But another thing is just being in spaces where I'm giving compassion towards these things that are so makes us human. You know, I'm not alone in this, even though I felt like I was the only one that kept those journals. I'm not. And even though shining a light on it, it almost makes me feel embarrassed because I'm like, oh, but there's so much more to me. I've wanted my whole life people to see so much more to me. Why would I shine a light on this? It's like being in spaces and flourishing in community and realizing that care for our bodies is relational, and being in spaces where you can soften your body. I'm thinking, again, I'm going to stick with the belly thing because for me, it was all about my belly. For other people, it might be something else, but yoga where I'm able to just take out my belly and let it hang, you know, in spaces where people are naked, in, you know, in places where I'm doing sensate focused things. You know, I started going to spaces or planning spaces where the whole idea was non-sexual touch that felt good. This is where I bring up kink sometimes because there's so many tools within that community, but just for example, shibari rope. And what
Love.
does it feel like just to be touched and to touch the belly in ways that feel safe? It's not even sexual. It's not like, oh, how do I get naked and look good for usually a man, but whatever, for a man or woman or whoever. It's like, what is just a taste of I feel good in my body, and I'm also in feeling good in my body, I'm creating a space for other people to soften into what's real about their body.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. And I do love that you brought up Shibari too, because even in learning about it, it is such a like spiritual, like almost ritualistic, like way of touch that, like you said, it doesn't have to be sexual. It can be, but it doesn't have to be at all. And it, yeah, like you said, like you're molding and you're like shaping the body and kind of giving this like release of like, yeah, accepting the different shapes that your body can take. And I think that is that, yeah, I recommend Shibari to a lot of people for a lot of different things, but this is a fantastic example. Yeah, just like getting this like kinesthetic awareness almost of like really just knowing your body and knowing what it can take and its limits and it's like it's what it's capable of. That's a beautiful way to do that in a space where you can feel like free and expressive. And I think
Yeah.
that's so, yeah, anything like that's like getting that somatic, like psychosomatic connection, I think is really can be really healing.
Yeah, and this is a real surface level on this topic, so I don't
Mhm.
want to dive too deep into the topic of trauma, but when we think of trauma, sometimes we assume that if there's blocks around sex, oh, I've never been through a sexual trauma, or maybe you have. But any form of body trauma, if you were in a place where for the first few years when I was in a relationship with my partner, I would not take off my shirt. Like, point blank, would not, regardless. If I can't even look in the mirror and touch a certain part of my body, how can my body, even if intellectually my brain, feel safe, let alone feel pleasure, right? Let alone feel good. And so, the body having experiences that do feel good, especially if able in community, is so healing. Ooh, my hair just went crazy. I look like the Einstein of sex. Here we are.
She's cooking. She's cooking.
We're making energy over here.
Yeah, we are. But I think that's so true. And I think like I love that you said, because this is something that I have found myself like verbatim saying in so many videos and articles and things that I've like shared around sexual confidence. But I always say, if you can't feel comfortable seeing yourself naked, how are you ever going to feel comfortable letting someone else see you naked? And that's such a good way of putting it, is like you have to come home to your body first before you can let someone else make it their home. Whether that's not just sexually, but like make it unified with them, like whether it is sex, whether it's just intimate touch, whether it's cuddling, whether it's like an embrace, hugging, holding hands, like you're giving someone access to your home, your body home, but you have to be comfortable with that first in yourself before you can let someone else come in and welcome them in.
At least know what that feels like. Like, I think of, so I love to swim, and swimming has taught me a lot. I swim in the ocean sometimes at sunrise, sometimes when it's cold. And recently I haven't been swimming as much because I went through an injury and wasn't feeling as good in my body, and it's like, oh, anything that is challenging that, I don't want to be challenged in that way. And it's taught me that when I'm swimming, even though I've been doing this for my entire life, I'm 34, but even though I've been swimming, 25 years, there's still this back of my head that's been conditioned to fear a shark. I know there's no sharks. I fear a shark. I've watched Jaws. I've been on Instagram. I've lived in this life where we talk about sharks. And even though I know there's no shark, my body says, there's a shark. And so as I'm swimming, it's like, as I start to get a little bit more anxious, because I'm a little bit slower than the group, sometimes I fall behind, I literally start thinking one stroke in what is feeling good in my body, one stroke in it's okay, whatever experience I'm having. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's shame, maybe it's whatever. But it's like, can I just let there be one stroke and, oh, that water feels good? And it's like they can coexist. And just to bring it back to the metaphor, what I'm trying to say here is like it might not look like I feel at home in my body all the time, but do you
Mm-hmm.
know what it feels like so that you can have one stroke and feels good, one touch, you can let both exist at the same time. And if not, you've
Yeah.
just never felt that before. You're like, no, the whole time that I'm in the ocean, I just feel like a shark is coming. I'm going to die. I'm like questioning my life choices. I'm like, why do people do this? I get out and I'm crying. And it's like, no, that is not the experience. That is
Yeah.
not the body pleasure, body honoring experience that you deserve to have to start your day.
Yeah. Well, and once you feel it, even just once, you know it's possible. And I think that's the biggest thing that keeps people like holding on to that kind of like positivity and hope, and like just not writing off that they'll never have a good relationship with their body. They'll never feel confident and at home in it. They'll never feel sexually confident. Like, I think once you feel that, you get a taste of that once, you're like, wait, I know what it feels like and I know I can replicate it. That's the journey, is just figuring out how many ways and how many moments you can replicate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious for you, Lexi, like can you think of a moment, maybe it wasn't pleasure or maybe it wasn't confidence, but a moment where your body maybe felt like a friend even through this journey where you're like, hey, it's not just a project, but this GLP journey, this weight loss journey, I'm not treating my body so much like a project, like I have to do these things, get to this destination, but I'm becoming more of a friend to it. I'm getting to know things that really surprised me about it.
Ooh, one thing that randomly came to mind is when I was in high school, I was going through a lot of like, teen angst, like identity stuff, mental health stuff that I just wasn't diagnosed and I didn't know that I was dealing with. And so I think one way that I basically had an undiagnosed eating disorder in high school, and I was kind of using that as a way to cope with the fact that I felt very out of control of my life. And I think a lot of people use ED, or they come into an ED situation because of like a lack of feeling control in other areas of their life. And so they're like, okay, well, this is one thing I can't control. And that was my case. The case for me was that I was like very sheltered. I was in a conservative Christian household, lots of rules. I had my emails and my diaries and my text messages read all the time. And I never had privacy, and I never had safety and security emotionally. Like, nothing I ever did was sacred or mine. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And so I had zero areas in my life except for in my brain. And so I had recognized like the only thing that's protected that no one else can ever reach is in my brain. And I think I kind of like, because I was mentally ill and didn't know it, it kind of warped into, I can decide how much food I have, and I can decide what foods I have, and I can decide how my body looks, and I can decide blah blah blah. So it spiraled out into this kind of situation with disordered eating and overexercising and things like that. But one thing that was really healing in that time period was my dad has always surfed since he was like in middle school, high school, because we grew up all in Florida. And so he really wanted my sisters and I to learn how to surf, because my brother already knew, my older brother. And so one summer he would take us out every couple days and just kind of just try to get us to surf. We were all very scared. We're not very adventurous people. But eventually I so vividly remember finally, when I finally like got strong enough to start like paddling, and like, cuz it's surfing is hard. It's really physical. And so you have to be use full body strength and all this stuff, and your breathing has to be, it's very, yeah, it's very mechanical. And so finally when I stood up on the board and actually surfed for the first time, I was like, holy fuck, like I'm doing it. Like, what? This is crazy. And I think it didn't last long. And I don't surf now regularly. And it would probably take me to basically back to ground zero if I wanted to learn again. because it's been so long. But I think that was one of the moments where I was like, my body just did that. Like I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it because it was really fucking hard, but I did that and I could do that. I was capable physically of doing that. And it wasn't a mental
Yeah.
thing and it wasn't an emotional thing. It was literally like my body just did all of that. And so I think that was one of the coolest experiences of like athleticism, because I've never been an athletic person. And so I think that for me, that was like the closest thing I've ever felt to like, wow, like I'm so physically capable, you know?
Yes. Okay. So when you asked me about this topic, I tried to really be spontaneous, have stories, but just have maybe 3 points that I want to get across. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so interesting what you're saying, because the first one for me was, how can you have moments of joy and body pleasure? And the second one was co-creating spaces where you're celebrating other bodies as neutrality, right? In any form or fashion, just feeling good. And then the third was this idea, because this too is what has helped me, and it's not like I'm reading this from a book. Like, this is my own experience, is playing with this idea that the body isn't just an ornament to look good, but it's an instrument. What makes it
Mm-hmm.
sing? What makes it play? What makes it strong? Surprising yourself at things that you could do that you didn't think, literally right before this call, I want to show my outfit, because you're going to get a striptease if you're watching live, and also Lexi.
This is why she took burlesque classes.
Oh yes, I took the burlesque class just for this. It's all about the tease.
Yeah.
All for this moment.
Oh.
No, I think that's why I lean towards comedic.
Yeah.
Comedic burlesque, because the idea of making a lot of eye contact right now was actually, and I'm actually purposely not doing this slowly. It's just actually has a lot of buttons. Okay. So this is what I literally went to the gym in. And when I say I was afraid to even buy this outfit, because I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's not going to be enough compression or whatever. So I want to, can you, I don't know.
It's cute. Yes.
Isn't
yes.
it? So Beyond Yoga, I have no sponsors. Maybe one day.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
be like that. No, I literally have no sponsors. Nobody pays me. But but like literally, I'm trying to show.
It's so cute. No, I can see it. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So
Cute.
I literally felt like fucking Superwoman, and I'm just like lifting things, and I'm just like, girl, look at those shoulders. And I'm like, look what you can do. And it's like, that has been the most powerful thing. And it's like playing with that. For example, I love learning from bodybuilder women, because they feel so feminine in their body when they're the more that they have these masculine traits. Some of them even take testosterone, they take body enhancing drugs but they feel more feminine. And it's like, well, sometimes we think it's going to look a certain way. It's going to be a bikini on the beach, but it might be a one piece thing and you're sprinting. It might be, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd be able to do, I still can't do this, but a crow pose or something. And you do the crow pose and you're like, I'm flying, like and it might just be playing with it at first. Like, I literally sometimes wear costumes because I'm just putting it on. I'm like, that I might not feel confident. You know what? I am going to give this example. Have you seen the Friends episode? And Rachel, whenever she's on a date and wants to impress somebody, she talks about her travels. That's how I feel whenever I bring up a travel story. But I'm just like, oh, but this moment for me was actually really healing. I have always been terrified of bungee jumping, and even so much, I said I had this internalized thought where I was like, at one point I was way too heavy to go skydiving or bungee jumping. I was like, when I lose 100 pounds, for me at the time, it would have been 165. I had this number in my head. It was like, when I am that weight, I'm going to go skydiving as Wonder Woman. I never thought of bungee jumping because I've watched maybe 10,000 videos of people bungee jumping. And I was like, that's stupid. That's scary. They don't look like they're having fun. I would never do that. And then my last trip, I went to New Zealand for a few months, and I rented a little camper van, and I am just, those people are so adventurous. It's just in their blood. I feel like, I don't want to generalize the whole population, but they just feel so adventurous. They make it feel like it's no big deal. You just show up to this bungee jumping place. They're like, it's fine. I never thought that I would just be like, no big deal. I invited someone to come with me, didn't know her. She met her on a ferry. I said, you know what? I'd really like someone to give a high five after I do this. I'll get us costumes. I asked her what she wanted. She said she wanted to look like a banana. And I got myself a Wonder Woman outfit. I'm going to show you. I keep this next to my desk because I never thought Sara was going to go bungee jumping, but Wonder Woman could go bungee jumping. So I literally got myself a Wonder Woman outfit. And I was like, I remember asking, I got up there and I'm like, okay, I'm talking to the person, asking him for tips, this guy that works there. Oh, what should I do? Like to make it feel better or not hurt or da-da-da-da. And he's like, you're doing it? Do it. If you leap, you're less likely to have a problem. If you really jump out there and if you're already doing it, don't just do it. How are you going to do it? Like, just go for it. And I was like, okay. And I decided, I was like, I'm not just going to jump off a thing and be scared. I am going to be Wonder Woman. I am going to leap off of this bridge. And it was like this transformative moment for me because I'm like, no, it's literally that simple sometimes. Like, it's literally, I don't like my belly. I never thought in a million years I could wear this, but it's my Wonder Woman outfit. When I'm not feeling confident, I literally dress as Wonder Woman and go to the gym and take off my shirt. And I'm like, you know what? Sara might not be able to do that, but Wonder Woman can, and I can do anything. I could jump off a freaking bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Yeah, and I think those are like, you do what you have to do to feel those moments and like get creative with it, have fun with it. Like, it doesn't have to be, like you said, sometimes it's not going to be what you imagine. These moments of like pleasure, these moments of like feeling at home or comfortable or like feeling that joy in your body and with your body. But yeah, I think you just find what works for you, and that worked for you so well.
Well, and even in the gym, it's not like so I want to talk about, the real reality of significant weight loss. There are body changes. Every time that I lost 100 pounds, I had a significant injury to my back. Every time. I don't know the research on this, even though I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist, but it changes the length tension relationship of your muscles. You have things that were acting as support, fat that was acting as support that's no longer there, and significant weight loss. This is why they talk about how important it is to make sure that you are lifting weights, because significant weight loss, you will lose some muscle in addition to fat. Like, it's just true. And so because of those things, it changes your body mechanics. This has been my experience. Every time I thought, I'm going to feel so good in my body and I'm freaking have to have surgery or something. Nobody talks about that either.
Yeah.
But, there's realities to significant body change that aren't great, that don't feel good. And one of them being this excess body skin that people talk about. It's not just a confidence thing. So despite wearing this, I literally feel my lower belly sometimes. Like, here, this is my belly. So I have this extra skin. And I can feel it when I'm moving. If I'm doing like a plank, if I'm doing a push-up, I feel it. Like, it's stretched, all these things. And it's like, that is a reality. Like, it's not in my head. It's not I could just make it go away, but it takes up only a part. I'm just like, and it is annoying. I'm just like, it's like this little bug that is biting me versus a swarm of bees that are stinging me. I'm just like, oh, gosh, that's annoying. And sometimes I straight up would just hold it. I literally don't even realize I'm doing it, which is probably socially inappropriate, but I will just be holding my belly up there because it just feels better, because it's distracting, It's really can be very distracting and annoying, but for me, it's become like an ant bite. There's no Wonder Woman outfit that's going to make me completely not think about these things that are actually frustrating, annoying, or I'm conditioned to not like about myself, but they've become much more of an ant bite instead of this swarm where I see a picture and that's the only thing I see. Or I'm
Right.
exercising and instead of focusing on, oh, where should I be feeling this muscle in my glutes, I'm worried about the jiggle in this spot for unknown recalled reason, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, Wonder Woman can be annoyed too sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's so true, and especially for women. Men can experience this too, but it's statistically speaking, like, and societally, like you said, we're conditioned. Women are always conditioned to be so aware of how we're perceived and to be so aware of how we appear. And so I think we have this extra layer of like, well, you're a woman, it's kind of your duty to appear attractive. It's your duty to present yourself well. It's part of who you are. It's part of being feminine, being a woman. And I think, like you said, with like bodybuilders and people who are really into fitness and wellness and strength, I think they're kind of doing a great job of turning that on its head for the most part, because there's a lot of women who are like, well, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to get too jacked. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. But bodybuilders love looking like a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? Like, and that doesn't make them any less feminine, and it doesn't make them any less womanly. And like you said before, like, two things can be true at once. They can coexist. And I think that's what we all have to get used to, is that you have loose skin that can annoy you sometimes, but you can still love your belly even with its loose skin and all. You know what I mean?
Does that feel
And you
true
can
for
still,
you? I'm just curious because, I want to, yeah, I just want to be a real human. Like, does that,
yeah.
I'm asking Lexi, like, does that feel true for you? That those two
Yes.
things can coexist?
Yes. Especially in like my personal, like, I can speak to my personal experience. Like I hate having huge boobs, and I hate that they're saggy. Like, my boobs, for me, in my perception, are saggy and they're huge, and I hate it. But I also love having boobs. I love, like, having certain tops that look really good with big boobs. Like, I love like a good corset where I'm like, ooh, like, I look good. So I think two things should be true at once. Like, I can want to change things about my body or how I appear, or same thing with like my voice and my laugh. I hate how loud I am, but I love how loud I am. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's always a duality for me. And I think same thing with like my legs. There's so much loose skin on my legs already, even though I'm only 70 pounds down, and I hate that loose skin, and I hate my thighs, but I love the muscles in my thighs. I have very nice muscular legs, and I love them, but I hate them at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I think I just accept this fluidity, this spectrum, and I think that's why I'm so like, I think that's just the mind of like someone. I try to stay as open-minded as I can about a lot of things. And so, yeah, I see there's always a duality for me of like, two things can be true, and in a lot of situations for me they are. Um and I think also part of that is I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind at any moment. I'm allowed to hate my body one day and then love it the next. Like, and I think I get to decide that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about each of our own bodies, is that it's, at the end of the day, it's only mine. It'll never belong to anybody else. It can never belong to anybody else. And so I get to decide how I feel about it, how I perceive it. Even if, yeah, sometimes it sucks to hate it. Ultimately, that's my decision, and I get to change my mind at any moment. And I think that's what goes into that like duality for me.
Mm. Yeah, and I love that you're, bringing up because when we first started this call, you're like, I'm in this space, kind of in the in between. And it's like, are you though? Because you're like, no, I've actually already done this journey with my breasts. I've actually already done this journey. And it's just remembering, like, oh no, I am really strong. I
Yeah.
can hold duality. I can hold this space. There isn't going to be this destination where I find the most perfect bra or I have this reduction, I don't know, whatever. This
Hmm.
and all of my different things that come along with being a woman that was raised with big breasts in this society and the attention that
Yeah.
got, and it just goes away. It just doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think also, sometimes just like talking to you, people like you, like I have to just like, I think sometimes you just have to be like reminded of different
You're a badass.
perspectives too. Yeah, like different
Yeah.
perspectives, and sometimes sometimes you need like your own thoughts reflected back to you in order to be like, wait, oh yeah, that's true. Like, and again, that's two things can be true. Like, you can have this perspective where like you think, like I think you are gorgeous and I think you are stunning and I think you have an incredible body. But there can be days where you don't think that, but we can both think that at the same time. You know what I mean? Like those two things can be true. We can both have a different perception. Same thing with like even you as one individual person. Like I can have two perceptions of myself at one time. And it's just like depending on the day, some days I feel great, sometimes I don't. I think there's always this ebb and flow for me. I always use that term, like it ebbs and flows. Everything ebbs and flows. And I think I'm an air sign, so I think that makes sense of like I can be very flighty with like, oh, like some days I feel this, some days I feel that. But at the end of the day, like I don't know, I think that's just life. I think there's such a duality to so many things. And yeah, I'm like still largely in this space where like I'm at war with my body, but it ebbs and flows. It's sometimes it's going to pull me and sometimes I'm going to pull back. Like, I don't know, that's part of being human, I think, is that whole experience. But I think, yeah, like you said, the biggest takeaway for me at least is finding those pockets of pleasure and contentment, even if they're like 5 seconds long, even if you're like, ooh, I like how my calves look in these shoes, and you walk away and you're like, but I hate the rest of my body. That's fine, because guess what? You just realized you can feel that joy and that pleasure even for a moment. It is possible. It is possible, and it can happen again. Period. I think that's what,
Yes.
from everything you said, I think that's my biggest takeaway is like once you feel it once, you know how it feels and it stays with you no matter what. And I think you just have to find a ways to pull it out.
Yeah. It's like if I could leave one image for the people
Yes.
listening. I don't know if you could hear the lawnmower. I apologize.
Oh,
But
it's fine.
one image, it's like your glitter belly moment, because that kind of encompasses everything. It's like this one moment of just simply putting glitter on your belly. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be in front of people, but maybe you do show the glitter to somebody, right? Like that community aspect. And then you're doing something. I had struggled with an injury. I was like, I can't dance in front of people. But I'm like, I'm doing something with my body I didn't think I could. Not just this ornament for people's eyes and pleasure, but this instrument. It's like, look what I'm doing. Oh, you think I'm going to take off my clothes for your sexual fantasy? I'm going to make fun of all those different things. I'm going to make you feel so uncomfortable because it's going to be about an uncomfortable topic. And yet I'm going to look sexy as all get out, right? Like there's that duality throughout all of it. And if it could leave like one image, it's finding that for yourself. And it could be so small. Like I know before we started Lexi, we grabbed like some different things because both Lexi and I just love learning about like pleasure and somatics and kind of infusing it. But I have this little feather fan thing.
Yeah.
And it might look something as simple as like I'm just touching my belly when I'm doing some work a little bit more often in ways that feel good. I have this moon water, again, no affiliate because I wish, but they're not here. But this is, I think, a small company, Earth Enchantments. I really like it. But this little like moon water smelly stuff. And I'll put it on
Love.
a rose and I'll do that at the end of like a workout, or I'll just put it on. Or for object permanence, just keep it next to my desk and
Yeah.
try to use it when I'm at work a little bit, and like just try to infuse it in small ways. It might not look so grand, but like, what is your glitter belly bold move? Like, it has to be something
Yeah.
bold. It's not going to be just taking a bath and everything gets better. It's going to be like facing that thing head on and and celebrating it in the most uncomfortable yet pleasurable way possible. Like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
fun. It's not comfortable. It still jiggles. It still moves. It
Yeah.
still does things you don't like, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? That reminds me of, this is a little more extreme of an example, but this is like immediately what came to mind. I had a friend who is like covered in tattoos and loves tattoos. That's like such a great form of expression for her. And she hated her stomach. She hated her stomach. And so she said, I'm going to get a tattoo on the most hated place on my body, because then I'm going to love it. I'm going to get the best tattoo I've always wanted on the worst place on my body, because then I will learn to love it. And I was like, wow, that's like such a, I mean, it's permanent, but it's like such a perspective shift of like, I'm going to force myself to love it because that this is the way that I'm doing it. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a fucking tattoo, but like you said, it can be like anything, just like gentle touch, or like getting a massage on a specific area of your body that you hate. Yeah. Putting oil on it, putting perfume on a certain part of your body that you are struggling with. Like any moment of, yeah, your glitter belly moment. I love that so much, because that just really encompasses like, make it special, make it just a special moment, even if it's so simple, something so quick and so simple. Like, cultivate, it's like a relationship you're cultivating, like you said, it's like a date. Have a date with it.
For you, it might be twerk thighs.
Yes.
For another person, it might be like their Wonder Woman guns. Like there's you know, I just love the theme. But this has been really fun. I'm really glad that we did this.
Yes, me too.
I feel good. I'm hoping that your listeners love it. You know, if anybody is listening and ever wants to get in contact, the best way is drsarasohn.com, and you'll kind of see a few different options. I am going to eventually be better about social media, Lexi. And so you could find me on there. But for now, I think just going to drsarasohn.com. Do you have a book that I made this year I wanted to plug because it's self-published, and that is not the easiest thing to share. But it is called Heart to Heart. It is a workbook for people that may have experienced pelvic floor concerns to have great sex and confidence in the bedroom. And it really can apply to anyone. So it's not all of the things that we talked about today, but it is step by step about confidence in the bedroom and talking about sex with your partner or with somebody in a dating situation. So I'm very proud of it. And I think the glitter belly story is actually in it.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because you have so much like personal perspective that I think really makes all of the work that you do so special, and you really just like infuse so much of your heart and yourself in your work. And so I think everyone should go follow her to push her to start doing social media. And yeah, please support her work. Please check out, it's on Amazon, correct? The book. They can find
the book is on Amazon, but because
amazing.
I'm so small, you probably have to write Heart to Heart, Dr. Sara Sohn.
Okay, good to know.
Or just go to drsarasohn.com and it'll be on. It's SARASOHN. I don't know if you've seen the Jimmy Fallon skit, but there's a Jimmy Fallon skit about how to spell Sarah. So SARASOHN.com. And I know Lexi feels the same way, but if, you know, sometimes making videos like this, making content like this can feel a little bit like you put something out in the universe and you're not sure if anybody ever heard it, liked it, or listened. And so if you did, and there's something that really resonated with you or really didn't, you know, you think differently about it, you think similarly about it. Like I know both of us would just love to know that you listened, that you made it to the end. So please do send me a message, even if just to connect for that, like that you listened, that there was something that resonated with you. It makes it feel like you're really part of a community and not just in this stuff alone. So it makes me feel that way.
Yes. Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, this was so fun, and I love having you, and I know there's so many other topics that we could talk to a wall about, so I'm definitely going to plan to have Dr. Sara Sohn on again soon. But anytime. Thank you so much
I'll put my shirt back on. I'll wear a shirt next time.
Okay, but thank you so much for being here with us.
Anytime.